A compound measure is a measure that's formed using other measures. An example of this is speed. Speed is distance divided by time. So we need to remember that speed equals distance over time. And one way of remembering it is thinking of speed, the measurements of speed, like miles per hour or meters per second. So miles or meters is a distance, and hours or seconds is a time. So speed equals distance over time. Let's look at a question. A sprinter runs 400 meters in 46 seconds. Work out the average speed of the sprinter. Give your answer to one decimal place. So speed equals distance over time. The distance here is 400 meters. And the time is 46 seconds. So we're going to have meters per second as our answer. Meters divided by seconds, meters per second. So 400 divided by 46 to one decimal place is 8.7. So the speed is 8.7 meters per second. Okay, one for you to try. A car travels 294 miles in 5 hours. Work out the average speed. So speed is distance over time. So in this case, that's going to be 294 over 5. So this time we've got miles over hours. So our answer is going to be in miles per hour. And 294 over 5 is 58.8. So it's 58.8 miles per hour. Here is another question involving speed. Winston leaves home at 8 o'clock. He travels 35 miles to work at an average speed of 42 miles per hour. What time does Winston get to work? So we know speed equals distance over time. But this time we've been given the speed. So we've been given a speed of 42 miles per hour. So speed is 42. And the distance is 35 miles. We need to work out the time. Or I can call that t. I'll call that t. So 42 equals 35 over t. How can we find out what the time is? If we multiply both sides by t, we get 42t equals 35. And we've got 42 multiplied by t. To get rid of a multiplication, we divide. So divide both sides by 42, which gives us a time of 35 over 42. So 35 over 42, 35 divided by 42 is 5/6. And what is that? So we had miles per hour. So the units for time are hours. So that's 5/6 of an hour. How many minutes is that? So we can either multiply it by 60 or press the time button on the calculator, and that gives us 50 minutes. So 5/6 of an hour is 50 minutes. If he left home at 8 o'clock, he took 50 minutes to get to work. It must be 8:50. And one for you to try. So give this one a go. So again, we've got speed equals distance over time. We've got a distance of 60 and a speed of 48. So again, we're working out the time. Speed is 48. Distance is 60. And we're working out the time. So multiply both sides by t to get rid of the fraction. And then divide both sides by 48 to get t by itself. So we've got 60 over 48, which is 5/4. Again, this is in hours, 5/4 of an hour. So either multiply by 60 or press the time button. So multiplying by 60 would change it into minutes. So the time button is going to be even better this time because it will say it's 1 hour and 15 minutes. So we've got 1 hour and 15 minutes. That's how long the journey takes. He left home at 11:30. So 11:30 plus 1 hour and 15 minutes plus 1 hour is to 12:30 plus 15 minutes will be to 12:45. So it's 12:45. A different example of a compound measure is density. And density is equal to mass over volume. So again, we need to remember what density is. It's mass over volume. The question here says a piece of metal has a mass of 220 grams. So mass is 220. A volume of 21 centimeters cubed. Find the density of the metal to 1 decimal place. So density is 220 divided by 21. And to 1 decimal place, that will be 10.5. What are the units? So we had mass divided by volume. So grams divided by centimeters cubed. So it's grams per centimeter cubed. Here's one for you to try. So give this one a go. So again, we're being asked to find the density. Density is mass over volume. There's a block of wood with a mass of 5,600 grams and a volume of 8,000 centimeters cubed. So 5,600 over 8,000 is 0.7. So it's 0.7, and again, it's grams divided by centimeters cubed. So grams per centimeter cubed. Here we have a different density question. This time we're told a piece of metal has a density of 15 grams per centimeter cubed, and we need to find the mass of 8 centimeters cubed. So that's the volume of the metal. So we're finding the mass this time. So density is equal to mass over volume. And we are told density is 15 and volume is 8. So to find the mass, multiply both sides by 8. So 15 times 8 is 120. So we have 120. What are the units? So the density was grams per centimeter cubed. So the mass is in grams. Okay, one for you to try. So give this one a go. Again, we're given density and we're given volume and we're finding the mass. So density equals mass over volume. The density is 19.3 grams per centimeter cubed. The mass is what we're working out, and the volume is 100. So we multiply both sides by 100. So the mass is 1,930, and we're measuring mass in grams. Okay, this is a more complicated question. It's a speed question. So we're using speed equals distance over time. So Albert drove 140 miles from A to B, an average speed of 60 miles per hour. He then stopped for a break before driving a further 2 hours from B to C, an average speed of 65 miles per hour. What was Albert's average speed for the whole journey from A to C? So we're given a journey in two parts, and we need to combine them together. So the speed for the whole journey is going to be the total distance divided by the total time. So we need to work out the total distance and the total time, and then divide them to get the speed for the whole journey. So let's look at the first part of the journey. So from A to B, what are we told? So he drove 140 miles. So distance is 140. And the speed was 60 miles an hour. So if we've got the distance and the speed, we can find the time. So speed equals distance over time. So 60 is 140 over t. And we're going to find t. So multiply both sides by t. 60t equals 140. And then divide both sides by 60. So I've got 140 over 60. So 140 over 60, which is 7 over 3, or 2 1/3. But if we press the time button, that will change it into time, 2 hours, 20 minutes. So 2 hours and 20 minutes. 2 hours and 1/3 of an hour is 2 hours and 20 minutes. So now we know all the information from A to B. From B to C, we're told it's 2 hours. So the time is 2 hours. And the speed is 65 miles per hour. But we don't know the distance. So speed is distance over time. So speed is 65. We're working out the distance, and time is 2. So to find the distance, multiply both sides by 2. 2 65s is 130. So 130 miles from B to C. So now we can say the total distance, so from A to B was 140 miles. From B to C is 130 miles. So we can add them up for the total distance. And the total time, so we had 2 hours and 2 hours and 20 minutes. So the overall speed is total distance which is 140 plus 130 over total time, 2 hours plus 2 hours 20 minutes, which is 4 hours and 20 minutes. So 4 1/3 of an hour, or we can use the time button on the calculator. So we could have left this as 2 1/3 and divided by 4 1/3. Either way, we're going to get the same answer. So we have 140 plus 130 over 4 hours and 20 minutes, or 4 1/3 as a fraction. So that gives us 62.3 to 1 decimal place. We'll give our answer to 1 decimal place, 62.3 miles per hour to 1 decimal place. Okay, a different question, one for you to try. Again, it's a speed, distance, time question. Try and give it a go, and then press play when you're ready for the answers. So we have Bernie drove 250 miles. He drove the first 180 miles. So again, it's a split journey. So there's 180 miles. And then the total is 250 miles. He drove the first 180 miles, an average speed of 60 miles per hour. So we've got distance and speed there. So we could work out the time. And from this point, it took him 1 hour and 45 minutes to complete the journey. So for the second part of the journey, it took 1 hour 45 minutes, and that must have been 70 miles, because 250 take away 180 is 70. So again, we want the average speed for the whole journey. So we want total, so speed, it's going to be total distance, which we know is 250, over total time, which we don't know yet. So it's going to be 250 over the total time, which we're going to work out. And we can work out the time for the first part of the journey, because speed equals distance over time. The distance is 180 and the speed is 60. So 60 is 180 over t. Multiply both sides by t. 60t is 180. Then divide both sides by 60. So t is 3. 3 hours. So we've got 3 hours and 1 hour 45. So the total time is 3 plus 1 hour 45 minutes. Or we could say 45 minutes is 3/4 of an hour. So in hours, it's 4.75. So we could use 4.75, or we could use the time button on the calculator and write 4 hours 45 minutes. Either way, it will give us the same answer. So 250 over 4.75 is 52.6. So that's our answer. 52.6, and its speed in miles per hour. If we had used the time button, 250 over 4 hours 45 minutes gets us the same answer of 52.6. To finish up, we've got one more question, or two more questions, one more example. This is a density question, but it's similar to the last speed question in that we're combining two things together. So we're using density is equal to mass over volume this time. And we are told liquid A has a density of 0.97 grams per milliliter. So mass in grams and volume in milliliters. 100 milliliters of liquid A, so 100 milliliters of liquid A, and some of liquid B are mixed to make liquid C. Liquid C has a volume of 125 milliliters and a density of 1.01 grams per milliliter. So we want the density of liquid B. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the mass of liquid B. So density of B is going to be the mass of B divided by the volume of B. So we can find the volume of B by taking away 125. Take away 100 is 25. So there must have been 25 milliliters of B because it's added to 100 milliliters of A to make 125 milliliters. To find the mass, we're going to have to calculate the mass of C, calculate the mass of A, and take them away. So density equals mass over volume. And for A, let's do A first. That's 0.97 is m over 100. So multiply both sides by 100. So the mass must be 97 grams. For liquid C, density is mass over volume again. The density is 1.01. We're working out the mass, and the volume's 125. So 1.01 times 125 is 126.25. So the mass is 126.25 grams. So the mass of B must be this one, take away this one, 126.25 minus 97, which is 29.25. 29.25 grams. So the density of B is the mass of B. Density is mass over volume, which was 25. So 29.25 divided by 25, and that is 1.17. So 1.17, and what are we measuring density in? Grams per milliliter. And one of these for you to do. Give this one a go. We have liquid A, and we're given the density. We're given liquid B's density, and we are told the volumes. So we're told how much of liquid A and how much of liquid B we're using, and we're finding the density of the combined drink. So we're going to calculate the mass of both of them. So for the combined drink density, we're going to have total mass over total volume. And we know the total volume, well, it's going to be 50 plus 210. So we need to work out the mass of both of them. So let's get the mass of A. So density is mass over volume. And for A, the density is 0.92. The volume is 50. So 0.92 times 50 is 46. So 46 grams. And for B, again, density is mass over volume. The density is 1.05 and the volume is 210. So 210 times 1.05 is 220.5. So we have the density of the combined drink is going to be total mass over total volume. So we're going to type this into the calculator. So the total mass is 46.220.5. The total volume is 50 plus 210. And that gives us a total volume, that gives us a total density, an overall density of 1.025. So we've got 1.025 and it's in grams per milliliter.